And the Lands and Natural Resources Minister, John Peter Amewu, has disclosed government will not extend the 3-week ultimatum giving illegal small-scale miners to demobilize from the various sites nationwide. He stressed government will develop a framework to allow Ghanaians in the small-scale mining sector to work in a more acceptable manner.
Over 163 excavators have been moved out from the various sites on the flatbeds. There's a downward trend in terms of the sales of the small-scale gold that is being brought to the PMMC. So, which tells you that, of course, activities of the illegal miners have, drastically reduced. It's not difficult to demobilize from sites. Mobilization from site takes about a maximum a day, and so demobilization should equally take a day. What is required is just to bring in your flatbed, drive your excavator, put it on the flatbed, and then you move it out. So this should not take more than two or 3 days to do. But we have given them as many as 3 weeks, which is quite extensive. But for me, I'm encouraged by the fact that their activities has responded to our demand for them to quickly withdraw. So they are withdrawing from the site. But I want to let Ghanaians understand, we as a government, we're not saying that Ghanaians do not have right to go and do small-scale mining. Small-scale mining is part of the activities to be undertaken by Ghanaians. I mean, that is clear in the law. What we are saying is that the mode in which some of these activities are being undertaken do not conform with the regulatory, framework that allow them to do it. Pollution of water bodies, putting chamfers on rivers and drilling down the river beds. These things cannot be done anywhere. Surprisingly, we have even established beyond all reasonable doubt, especially those who are drilling on the rivers, the river beds, that most of those guys are not even Ghanaians. Excuse me to say, there are a lot of foreigners involved in this, activities, and we can't allow this thing to continue. And so we are going to give a framework that allow Ghanaians to mine in a more sustainable way.
Right, let's quickly get on to Skype. I've been joined from London by Awula Sewa, who is part of the concerned Ghanaians and Pan-Africanists at home and the diaspora who have grave concerns about the Galamsey issue back home in Ghana. Awula, if you can hear me, nice to have you join us on News at 10. Tell me what your major concerns are. I know you're worried, but how worried are you about this illegal mining menace, Galamsey?
Good evening, and thanks for having me on. We are extremely concerned. We've seen the reports. We can see the rivers that were nice and blue, which are now brown. We can see the state of the environment, which presents a danger to humans, to the agriculture, to the water beds. We all know that water is essential. And then there's also the security concerns about the guns coming into the area. So we are extremely concerned about what is going on.
I know despite the concerns you're telling me about, I am concerned too. And I'm sure every well-meaning Ghanaian should be concerned. But these activities started years back. I mean, Galamsey has been with us for God knows how long. But we have laws to tackle Galamsey, but the laws appear not to have worked. Would you say from where you stand whether you feel that our institutions have failed us?
Well, I mean, as you have rightly said, it's been going on for a very long time, but it's reached an extent where it's just terrible. Right now, it's the ecocide is going on, and you have rightly said it. We are supposed to have regulations. If the regulations were being enforced robustly, I don't think we'll be in this situation. It appears to be total lawlessness and no respect for the laws of the country. So I think that as a matter of urgency, there must be an environmental impact assessment to look at what is going on and to look at remedying the situation. When we look at the water, the sewage going into it's just terrible.
I hear you say environmental impact assessment. I will come back to you so we talk the details of what yourself and your colleagues recommend be done so that we can tackle this. But let's look at what have been done, efforts by government to deal with this menace in the past few weeks. The minister gave an ultimatum, through his ultimatum, for those who are working in illegal mining to stop their operation. They call it demobilize. There are other things which have been done. There have been some arrests. There are some Ghanaian citizens and Chinese citizens who are facing trial in court currently. Would you say you are satisfied with the initial steps taken so far by government to deal with this crisis?
We appreciate what is going on, and we do believe it's a step in the right direction. We do believe that we have laws. The laws should be enforced so that if anybody is found guilty after judicial process, the law should take its course. And in the case of nationals who are foreign nationals, they may be deported. So yes, the step has started in the right direction, but it has to continue. We can't be complacent.
Now let's go back to your concerns about first dealing with this crisis by starting an environmental impact assessment. That's good, but I want you to tell us what you feel that we could do as a country beyond the environmental impact assessment, what we could do to fast track dealing with this crisis. And don't forget that there are foreigners also involved in this menace.
Well, we know that we have a country which has laws. Ghana is not a lawless country. So the rule of law must take its course. You have talked about, first of all, you need to assess the situation, secure the area. I've watched reports with farmers having their produce destroyed by the illegal miners. We have to secure the areas under threat. After these areas have been secured, then we need to start looking at the perpetrators, deal with them according to the laws of the land, and then we have to have an environmental impact assessment. We have to look at the state of the rivers and the river beds, because as you know, water is essential to human life. And apart from the human beings that will be drinking water, you also have the fishes and so on and so forth. If they have been poisoned by whatever is being dumped into the water, when we consume the fishes, obviously, there'll be health issues involved. So it's a complex situation.
Very complex indeed. Very complex indeed. You also want an investigation to be conducted into how these heavy machinery found themselves in the illegal mining sites. You think this is helpful, or this can bring any results in terms of efforts aimed at tackling Galamsey?
Well, I mean, we have to find out how the machinery got to the illegal sites. I mean, there are laws in the country. We know that there are some miners who have licenses. If they have licenses, fair enough. But even those with licenses, we need to ensure that the fact that you have a license doesn't mean that you can disrespect the environment. So even with those who have licenses, they need to abide by the laws about how they manage the area. But yes, with the machinery that has found its way to sites where there have been no licenses, I think it's useful to find out what happened.
Right, Awula, we're grateful for your time. Thank you very much for joining us. Awula Serwaa joined us on Skype from London. Thank you very much for your time. This is still News at 10. We're live on TV3 and also live on 3FM 92.7, as well as our affiliates across the country. We have more news for you.